big data is the next big disruptive trend in the industry, really, after cloud computing. It's the previous wave of disruption. It's a natural follow-on from cloud computing because it's such an enabler for big data. And I think it's where the competition in the marketplace will be, is where the organisations will differentiate themselves or will fail to differentiate going forward in the next few years. I think big data, it's not really anything radically new, and lots of organisations have been processing huge data sets for a pretty long time, especially in financial services, for example. I think the changes, I guess there's three key areas where there's been change. One is just the availability of big data sets, as in organisations are generating a lot of data, their customers are generating a lot of data. So just the availability of the data in itself. And I think the technology has really moved on, although technologies like Hadoop, but all the supporting technologies and the family technologies that have grown around Hadoop have really given architects tools to tackle that data challenge that just didn't exist. And it's been largely driven by the Googles and the Amazons of this world, with the various papers, like the paper that stimulated the creation of Hadoop in the first place, and Dremel and Drill and those kind of trends. And then the third part of the jigsaw is just, I think, the natural marriage between cloud computing and big data. So cloud has given big data an economic price point, so a price performance characteristic that just wasn't feasible before, and that's removed a massive barrier for adoption. So before you had to have very deep pockets to get into the big data game, and now you can get in at a very low price point and experiment. It certainly is hypey. I think that if I look at hype, if I measure hype from the point of view of how many invites to events I get or how much I get in my inbox, it's definitely hypey. Feels very similar to cloud computing hype 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, although the cloud computer hype is not over yet. And but I think with all hype, there's an underpinning of really important reality and change to it. So yes, there's lots of froth on top. It's getting there's a lot of attention and fuss. There's a lot of vendors circling around big data because it's an opportunity for them to sell storage and compute resource, basically. So that's fine, that's the way the world works. But it's something very, very real underneath it, and something very transformational in terms of the competitive advantage or the operational efficiencies that organisations can drive out by really exploiting these kind of technologies and their data sets. So I think the trends going forward are, I think we'll see obviously a lot more adoption. So we're at the very early adopter stage, although it is different by different sectors. So clearly we'll see more adoption. Most organisations are in the have done nothing or are thinking about it. So we'll see a lot of proof of concepts and those kind of things. And it's some experimentation, which is a good thing. I think it's where everybody should start. It's a very fast-moving area, so I think my recommendation to organisations is, dip your toe in the water and get some experience, and you'll understand better what you really want going forward. I think in a technology sense, this is the technology market and the software around big data, software opportunities and open source projects, and there's lots of great stuff going on under the Apache. So HBase, Hadoop, and Accumulo, and all those kind of areas. It's very fast moving, very fast moving. So I think that it's impossible to say now how the landscape will look in a technology sense in 2 to 3 years, but I think the key trends are that it's all moving from a sort of Hadoop batch-oriented type world, where you might wait, say, 30 minutes for results, or it's certainly not real time, to a much more real time universe where business users expect to ask analytic ad hoc questions of their data sets in real time with second or even sub-second response times, and also for data sets to be loaded into their big data solutions, and the data to be there almost in real time as well. So I think that drive towards real time access and queryability, if you like, is what we'll see become much more mainstream in, say, 2 to 3 years' time. So I think where clients should start today is if they've not started anything, is to dip their toe in the water. I think, and just do some learning, get some learning. So as I've mentioned previously, the price performance point, the cost of trying is very low, basically. Whereas historically you might have been into the millions to try and access get some insights from existing data sets. Now you can do it for, I don't know, less than, say, 4 figures maybe. So the cost of trying is way lower, and there's still hurdles and there's still barriers, but I think get started, understand, that will help organisations understand where they're heading with this, what the insights and advantages are. And they may find that where they thought the value was in their data and combining it with other data sets, they may find that actually it's somewhere different to where they expected. But if you don't start, you will never find out, and I guess your competitors and other organisations will be finding out before you. So I think there's an element of just getting going and taking some of the fear out and converting it from hype and that kind of vendor spin, if you like, converting it to some reality with some traction. And then the next step will be way clearer. So then you can plot a roadmap of how you might take it forward, or how it may not be appropriate for your organisation.